Ecosystem. An ecosystem or biome describe a single environment and ever-living biotic organisms and non-living abiotic factor that is contained within it or characterizes it. An ecosystem embodies every aspect of a single habitat, including all interaction between its different elements. Biotic factors include plants, animals, and other organisms. And abiotic factors include rocks, temperature, and humidity. Every factors in an ecosystem depends on every other factor, either directly or indirectly. A change in the temperature of an ecosystem will often affect what plants will grow there. For instance, animals that depend on plants for food and shelter will have to adapt to the changes, move to the other ecosystem, or perish. Ecosystems can be very large or very small. Tide pools, the ponds left by the ocean as the tide goes out, are complete tiny ecosystems. Tide pools contain seaweed, a kind of algae, which uses photosynthesis to create food. Herbivores, such as abalones, eat the seaweed. Carnivores, such as sea stars, eat other animals in the tide pool, such as clams or mussels. Tide pools depend on the changing level of the ocean water. Some organisms, such as seaweed, thrive in aquatic environment. When the tide in the pool is full, other organisms, such as hermit crabs, cannot live underwater and depend on the shallow pools left by low tides. In this way, the biotic parts of an ecosystem depends on abiotic factors. The whole surface of Earth is a series of connected ecosystems. Ecosystems are often connected in a larger biome. Biomes are the large sections of land, sea, or atmosphere. Forests, ponds, reefs, and tundra are all types of biomes. For example, they're organized very generally based on the types of plants and animals that live in them. Within each forest, each pond, each reef, or each section of tundra, you will find many different ecosystems. What is the importance of ecosystem to us as a human? As a society, we depend on healthy ecosystem to do many things. To purify the air so we can breathe properly, sequester carbon for climate regulation, cycle nutrients so we can have access to clean drinking water without costly infrastructure, and pollinate our crops so we don't go hungry. Threat to ecosystem. Anything that attempts to alter the balance of the ecosystem potentially threatens the health and existence of the ecosystem. Some of these threats are overly worrying as they may be naturally resolved provided the natural conditions are restored. Other factors can destroy ecosystem and render all or some of its life form extinct. Here are the few. Habitat destruction. Economic activities such as logging, mining, farming and construction often involve clearing out places with natural vegetative cover, very often tampering with one factor of the ecosystem can have a ripple effect on it and affect many more or all other factors of that ecosystem. Biomes contain many ecosystems with the same area. Land-based biomes are called terrestrial biomes. Water-based biomes are called aquatic biomes. Desert are dry areas where rainfall is less than 50 centimeters per year. They cover about 20% of Earth's surface. Desert can be either cold or hot, although most of them are found in subtropical areas. Because of their extreme conditions, there is not as much biodiversity found in desert as in the other biomes. Any vegetation wildlife living in a desert must have a special adaptation for surviving in a dry environment. Desert wildlife consists primarily of reptiles and small mammals. Deserts can fall into four categories according to their geographic location or climatic conditions: hot and dry, semi-arid, coastal, and cold. Next is the tundra. A tundra extremely inhospitable conditions with the lowest measured temperatures of any of the five major biomes, with average year temperature ranging from 34 to 12 degrees Celsius. They also have a low amount of precipitation, just 15 to 25 centimeters per year, as well as poor quality soil nutrients and short summer. The last one is the species. Species is a group of organisms that can reproduce with one another in nature and produce fertile offspring. Species are characterized by the fact that they are reproductively isolated from the other groups, which means that the organisms one species are incapable of reproducing with organisms in other species. The term species can also be defined as the most basic category in the system of taxonomy. Taxonomy is a scientific system that classifies organisms into categories based on their biological characteristics. Species can also be defined based on a shared evolutionary history and ancestry. This method of defining species is called phylogenetics, which is the study of the evolutionary relationship among organisms. The evolutionary process by which a new species comes into being is called speciation. Species can also be defined based on a shared evolutionary history of ancestry. Different species are separated from each other by reproductive barriers. These barriers are geographical, much as a mountain range separating two populations, or are genetic barriers that do not allow for reproduction between the two populations. Scientists have changed their definition of species several times throughout history. Species is one of the most scientific classification that scientists use to describe animals. Scientists use a system of binomial nomenclature to describe animals without the confusion of common names. The system uses the genus as the first name, which is always capitalized, and the species name is the second name.